Welcome back, everybody, to our Big Brother podcast. Big Brother Canada 9. How's everybody doing with this one?
I just want a disclaimer before we get into it that the only thing that I've watched is the actual show. I have not watched your podcast about the live feeds, and I haven't watched any of like the YouTube live feeds that are up. So the only thing that I can comment on is what I see on the show. And I know I've been hearing that it's a lot different than what's going on.
It's a lot different.
Same for me, Meg. I haven't watched any of the live feeds, just what Nick has been angry about. That's the gist of my feeds knowledge.
Yeah, I haven't watched feeds either, just Nick's analysis of the feeds.
Yeah, I have a lot to say on the feeds usually, but I mean, it's mostly in jest. I feel like this is last week we said it was Survivor One World, but it's Survivor Gabon or Gabon. I don't know if you guys remember this season of Gabon of Survivor where it's a very highly entertaining season, but it's entertaining because everybody's playing terribly. So that is exactly what this season is for Big Brother, in my opinion. A hot ass mess.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know if it's hot of a mess as, production, but we'll get into that, I guess. Who went up, who went down for you all? For me, watching the feeds, literally everybody's down. But who is up there down for you guys?
Just personality-wise, Rohan's up for me. I hated him in his first little casting thing, but I really like watching him now. Weird prediction, but I kind of see a Dan Giesling type game for him starting out in like the first couple weeks where Dan was super weird and kind of in trouble. And
he needs to drop a certain douchiest of the douches, as Fat Guy would say, before he could do that.
You mean his Memphis, Kyle?
And if he stays his Memphis, I think he's more like his Kiefer, who's going to ruin him soon. We'll get to Kiefer, though. Thoughts, Fat Guy?
Ups and downs. I mean, I suppose my up would be Tina. She seems kind of under the radar, and everyone seems to get along with her. Even the non-sunsetter people. I don't know if that's even still a thing. I know on the last episode I saw it looked like it was still a thing, and it was kind of like the sunsetters against. See, I read updates, but I don't actually watch. So it looks like it's gonna be sunsetters against oddballs is kind of what it's shaping up to be. But Tina just seems to be pretty fluid between the groups, and then down probably the ones that are outwardly showmancing. So Beth and her dudes, I think they're just making too much of a scene of it, and shit'll catch up to you.
I did my ups and downs during episode 4, so this was before the eviction this week, and obviously I had Josh down just where his place in the house, but I really like Victoria, but from what I see in the show, she doesn't really seem to have an alliance anywhere. So I feel like that can kind of put her down because she's an easy target from any side, because I think everybody likes her, but she doesn't really bring anything game-wise to anybody. And then up, Latoya seems to have her hands in the most pots. And they all kind of intertwine with each other. So, but I don't know. She's kind of a hard one. In episode 5, I was like, when Josh was given his like spiel to her in like the hallway room thing and the other girls, she just seems very like not approachable. I think she's difficult to read.
Let's go ahead and start with Sunday's episode. Start of the week. I despise this episode for anybody that watched my little thing because it was so terribly edited. It was like 90% fluff. But I mean, my main problem is it's such a big topic. Josh had a meltdown on night 3, but we never seen it. Why? But anyway, what are your thoughts on, I guess, the whole Austin being HOH waste of space?
I'll go first on this one.
Go for it.
I don't like her. I like her even less than I thought I was going to like her, which was already in the negatives. I cannot stand her. I cannot stand anything about.
She has a Twitter following, and it blows my mind. She is one of the only people not playing the game, which I mean, this season might not be a bad thing, but still.
She does not come off as a very likable or good person to me. It could be her edit. All Austin fans out there, I don't know her personally, but she does not look like someone that I would even want to associate with in the real world. And I don't understand how anyone in there does want to associate with her.
Well, the thing is, nobody does, honestly. On the live feeds, it's her and Brayden hanging out all day, every day.
Yeah, well, that makes more sense.
I do think she's really pretty, but her jeans are so unflattering. That's the only thing I wrote down about her.
You know, when we did our cast assessment, I had mixed feelings on her. After seeing her in an episode or two, that realtor personality is really starting to show itself. I kind of talked about how I have friends like that. Like, they're okay, but they're really just self-involved. And I get that from her. I actually wrote down as my alliances Austin and Beth, and my name for them was insufferable. Like, I can't do it. Just nothing about them is good for me.
She also immediately right off the bat wanted to steal when they had the steal and share decision, which was, I think, super telling of who she is.
Yeah. I did write something about that. Yeah, it's way too early to even consider doing that. But I can't deal with her. I think she feels like she has more power than she actually does. Like, maybe she was controlling the house and she's nowhere near the one controlling the house.
Yeah, her and Brayden not even, like, they're in a different house. That's what I feel like they are.
I thought she was really cute, but she's one of those people that as the more the more she talks, the less attractive she gets. I actually feel that way about her because I thought she was really cute at first, and now I don't find her attractive, and it's probably because who she is just a complete turnoff in every possible way.
I felt like her back and forth with Josh on the couch during the house meeting was just like cringeworthy. It was very childish to me.
She's easily the least likable person in the house for me. Like,
I think it's telling too.
With you with the Beth too.
Like, none of the guys have really, flocked to her like they have with Beth, and I think that's pretty telling about just how crappy her personality is. Like, I guess she's kind of good looking, but the personality just completely it's not good.
Bad. Maybe that's why she's never had a boyfriend.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to crap on her personality. For me, it's just, I guess I watch more of the feeds than I do the episodes. She's just so not involved in anything. It's like she's taking up space, honestly.
She just doesn't give off good energy to me. She comes off very icy, cold, and just not good, inviting, warm energy.
Yeah.
Is her and Brayden, like, are they normally sitting around just gossiping and talking to themselves? Like, that's pretty much them
all day. It's just they're together all day. Even if it's either by themselves or with other people, it's those two together all day.
So kind of mean girlish, like cliquey. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that. I'm over it. New HOH, please.
Yeah. What else happened in this Sunday episode? I mean, I hated everything. I hated the whole steal and share. It was just a waste of time. Let's see some fucking gameplay. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but what are your thoughts on Latoya does have her hands in a lot of pots. She made a deal with Austin. It was the right move for her this week, but
I thought it was dumb during the competition, though, like saying, "Oh, I got you." Like, you're on teams. There's no possible way that you could actually make a deal during that HOH competition without making yourself a target for your team. So did they actually agree not to target each other later after the competition?
Kinda.
I don't really get the last two in the HOH have to make a deal type situation for every HOH competition. Like, unless the two of them felt like they hadn't really been getting along and they could be a target of each other's if the other one wins. I get it then. But for like the first HOH competition, and there really haven't been these like drastic lines drawn at that point that, you know, I'm aware of in like a normal audience, not watching the live feeds all the time. I just don't see the point in like, I don't know. Why
I
strike
do think it
some
was
sort of
because
crazy
they,
deal with somebody if you don't have to?
but I do think they were on opposite sides to start the game, which is I think why they did do that.
I mean, when
I
you
just
look at the
like didn't
breakdown,
see her in the line of fire, like either one of them in the line of fire for the other one. Maybe
Yeah,
more
I don't
Austin
think
than
Austin
Lauren.
would have been, honestly. But I do think Austin might have targeted Latoya without that deal. Maybe.
She did talk about backdooring her a lot.
I think
It's
that
not like those
anniversary
deals actually
stuff
mean
just
anything.
got it.
Right. But I
Well,
mean, for the
we've seen
week,
how
I would
people-
feel like if I gave up my HOH because you told me as like the final two in that comp that I wasn't gonna be put up and then you put me up, I'd be pissed.
What are your thoughts on the whole Kiefer debacle, fan guy? I mean, when I saw this on live feeds, I thought Kiefer was just being a dick during the competition, but he really not, at least not what they showed. He wasn't being that bad.
I mean, yeah, based on what was shown, all he said was one thing. He just told her balls are further apart than yours or something like that, and she lost her mind over that. And even if he was hollering to psych his team up, like that's
Part of
a
the game.
trait that's a trait of a good teammate. I think so. I don't think what he did was out of line. I think, he got a little paranoid after the fact, which didn't do him any favors this week. But at that point in time, nah, man, he didn't do nothing wrong. She was going to put him up anyway and just wanted to have a reason to say anything and say that's why she did it. So it just made it easier to put him up. She already knew exactly the two people she was going to put up, I believe.
Was there more that happened in that situation than what they showed?
I mean, the way they talked about it, it sounded like they made it seem like Kiefer was yelling the whole time.
I mean, that's how I took it. I even wrote down Kiefer needs to shush, don't show your hand. That's from his perspective. But if I'm sitting there right next to him, yes, Kiefer, keep doing what you're doing and make yourself a target.
But what
So-
hand is he showing? There was a team, it was to keep him safe. So of course his hand is for his teammate to win.
It doesn't matter. Anything you do can turn you into a target. And in that situation, you either cheer people on or you stay quiet.
But was he cheering Toya on, or was he going after, like trying to get Austin to fall?
Yeah, see that I don't know. Austin, I guess, took it that way that he was against her.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see her on the block. That's going to be a messy, messy week.
Might be a while. Well, I think the biggest thing in this episode wasn't the waste of an HOH. It was Meg getting peanut butter and jelly. I mean, you wished for it last week, and ta-da, we have peanut butter and jelly all week.
And cookies, even better.
One thing about it, though, it's all crunchy. They don't have any smooth peanut butter. I was not happy about that because I don't like crunchy peanut butter. So
I love all the peanut butter.
I'm with Brayden on that one.
You can't discriminate against the peanut butter. Peanut butter is my #1 favorite food. I'll eat it anyway, shape, form, crunchy, creamy, smooth. I don't give a fuck.
Almond butter is superior.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, I said it enough on my little recast, but Sunday's episode was pointless. I was so annoyed with production because they told us nothing that was actually going on. So finally, in Wednesday's episode, we see the Sunsetter Alliance.
I do want to just mention how ugly Kyle's feet are. That was in Sunday's episode. He had his feet up on somebody else's like legs, and they're the ugliest feet I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, you noticed the tiniest things.
It was not tiny. They are. Go back and look. Just go back and look. You'll see what I'm talking about.
So I guess
I
what do you
wrote
got?
a note about it.
I didn't see it. But... What are your guys' thoughts on the Sunsetter Alliance? Even though they became quite the mess, but what are your thoughts on this alliance?
I love this group. These are a lot of my favorites all smashed together in one group. So whenever they came together, I was like, damn, like that's if I could have like picked maybe 6 people that I like, it's pretty close to the 6 I would have picked, maybe -1, but win some, lose some. So I love this group, and I hope that that they can ride it out.
I'd like to see Beth replaced with Victoria.
I'm sure they would right now
I think
too.
it's too late for that.
I'm sure they would like that right at this second as well.
I mean, I like the alliance. I see too many cracks in it already. Like Tina and Latoya are already kind of working the other group. Beth is working Austin and Braden. So there's already commingling between the two sides of the house. And I don't see this alliance lasting more than maybe.
I feel like that's why it should work, because they could just gather all this information. Nobody sees them together, because why would you put these 6 people together? But yeah, I think some of the personalities in this alliance just ain't working out.
I do like Tina and Latoya as a duo, though. That's intriguing and interesting to me, and I really like that. And if they can work it well, I think that the two of them can go really far. But they just need to not show their cards.
Well, unfortunately for them, they had aligned with a bunch of idiots, but we'll get to that.
I mean, they are two of the most level-headed folks in that house. Tina probably even more so. Like she's just so logical about everything and how she goes about it. And I'm really starting to like her. I didn't like her in our cast assessment all that much, but she is a real strong possibility to win this game.
What else happened in Wednesday's episode?
Josh's plan: win POV, tell everyone to suck it.
Josh was a great cast member. This boot odor is not the greatest thing, but I guess what are your thoughts on the veto? Any thoughts on Kiefer winning the veto?
Is it normal in BB Canada for the HOH to not play in the veto?
It's a new thing on recent seasons.
Okay.
I had that question too.
I guess it's because they think it's gonna, I don't know, change up the game a little. That the HOH can always get their way, as we see in BBUS all the time.
I was glad to see my dude win it, because I still like him, even though he's kind of a collapse.
Terrible player.
Yeah, he's not as charismatically awesome as he initially came off, but I still like him. So I like him more than most, I'll say. So I was glad to see him win it, because even though I don't think anyone was going home other than Josh, like anyone in the house probably would not have gone over Josh. I think definitely didn't want him to go. So I think the house needs him. So I was very glad to see him win it. And it looked really close.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
I was
didn't understand.
super impressed that Josh locked in with 1 second left.
Yeah, his strategy. I'm not sure how I feel about how he went about that veto challenge, but he almost pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little upset the way the rest of the house guests were actively rooting against him during this challenge too. Like there are some players in past BB history that I would actively root against, but I don't feel Joshua is one of those. Yes, he's weird and a bit of a drama queen, but I don't feel like he's a bad person. I don't think he's killing cats anymore. Okay, Meg.
I have a bold statement. I think even though his social game is completely terrible, I think he was the best strategist in the house from everything I've seen from all these other people. So,
I mean, based on what we see out, like just on the show, I mean, he seemed to be the only one trying to come up with moves and ways to play, and was trying to approach other people with like, hey, listen, use me like this, save me, and here's what I can do for you. And I mean, I like that side. He was playing. I like to watch people actually play the game.
You know, Tina and Latoya said it, that his pitch wasn't terrible. I think they both knew, and everybody else knew that was watching, that it wasn't going to happen. But
I mean, it came close several times, but
it wasn't a bad pitch. I mean, make me a permanent pawn for the rest of the game. You always have one of two people that you can put up.
The one thing I'll say, devil's advocate to that, is that he was the only person forced to play because he knew, like, it's kind of easy to sit back sometimes if you know you're not in the line of fire. Like,
but the thing is, nobody's sitting back. They're all overplaying.
It's interesting, though, because I really, just from watching the show, I feel like everybody kind of has a pretty good read on the house, like where they stand. I mean, even Kiefer and Josh knew they were in trouble and that they had to start figuring things out because they were actively campaigning against each other before they even got put on the block. And Rohan, I don't feel like he ever thought he was in any danger this week. Like, he just sat back the entire
Which
he
time.
actually means
knew
he had a
was gonna
bad
be
week because he
replacement
was in
now.
danger.
Oh, was he? I feel like everybody kind of knows their role in the house and where they're at. And maybe that's why they're overplaying so much, because they know where they are and what they have to do to get to the next step.
Let's talk about this contrived showman's fan guy you mentioned last week. How they're pushing showmances. I swear to God that Beth and Tashawn were casted to be showmans because it comes across so fake to me when they're together that it's almost like they know they're playing each other, but they're still going to give them a showman just for the cameras.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt if that was the case. If they were specifically cast and they were like, you must get in a showmans. Which goes back to my thoughts. Like, I mean, do they just get that much better ratings? Is it that necessary to force something this hard, even if it comes off looking terrible? I don't like anything about this.
Yeah, but then she kissed Jed in the hot tub, and that was so
I think that was
awkward.
also contrived. I think that was because when they had this conversation in the feeds, I'm telling you, it came across like they were told to do this. I swear to God.
The couch scene where it's just Beth and Ty talking.
I think Beth was actually talking to Kiefer on the feeds when they were talking about it, and Beth was talking about how, which guy should I pick for his showmans? But it came across like the producers are telling me I should be with Deshaun.
Because
I mean, either it's being produced or she's the next Allison Irwin from BB4 and just playing these dudes.
But they're also playing her.
I mean, maybe we see our first BB threesome on TV. Who knows?
AP.
You can only hope.
I mean, I'd watch it. I'm not gonna lie.
So what were your guys' overall thoughts on Josh planting seeds of truth that did eventually kind of grow, even though we didn't get to see it all on the episode because it all happened the night before, but thoughts on Josh's seed planting?
I thought it was a good attempt. Could have been a better attempt. But I don't see the feed, so I don't know like how good of an attempt it actually was, you know? I need to start watching the feeds.
He was definitely doing what he had to do to try to stay in the game. I mean,
how close was he to pulling this off? I
mean, it's hard to tell because the Sunsetters are such a mess. Let me try and walk through what I saw happen. Kiefer's been overplaying. Sorry, fan guy. I think I called him Kiefer Donato on the fucking recap because he's playing like Danny from last season.
I saw that
He's just
recap.
telling lies that he doesn't need to tell, and he already got caught because he's telling lies that he doesn't need to tell. So he tells his lie because he wants Rohan to be the target. Why he wants Rohan to be the target, I don't know, because Rohan and Kyle are after him. But anyway, he's telling these lies so he could change Tina and LaToya's mind because Tina and LaToya are the ones that aren't going for this. So he tells a lie that Rohan and Kyle are throwing out Tina's name. They're not throwing out Tina's name, but because of this lie, they actually decide that, okay, maybe it would actually be best to vote out Rohan. Jed and Tashawn at first agree. At some point during the day, Kiefer's like, actually, I changed my mind. I don't want to take this shot because they might come after me. Kyle might come after me if we eliminate Rohan. So Kiefer backs out. The other guys back out, even though Rohan and Kyle are targeting Tashawn and Jetson, but they're dumb as hell, so they don't know these things. But then, Latoya and Tina started the week off pushing for Josh to go home. But by the end of the week, it was Latoya pushing hardest for Rohan to go home because of Kiefer and Jetson being dumb as hell. So they've already tried this flip. Victoria rats it out to the other side that they're flipping. So now Kyle and Rohan already know that the Sunsetters are flipping. But instead of going through with the flip, since they've already planned this out, they go back on the flip because the guys don't want to do it. So essentially the guys screw the girls in this alliance is what happened.
Yeah, they didn't show any of that.
Yeah,
Is that where the conversation on the show with Latoya and Tina was coming from? Where they were like, I just feel like Tina was saying how she felt like she was being like controlled.
yes. Because at first it was all the guys pushing to get out Rohan. But after Kiefer's lies, then the girls were okay with getting out Rohan, but then the guys changed their mind because they're pussy.
And once the other side already knows you want to take that shot and you're planning on it, the damage is done. The dishes are done, dude. Like, go through with that because take a shot at the other side while you can.
Yeah, I mean, if you're planning out that far and you already have Kiefer and Tina on board, even though Tina was still kind of wavering, but now Latoya is probably going to take the fall because she was the one pushing the hardest in the end, and Kiefer just Tina and Latoya were the two people that had Kiefer's back, but now Kiefer's, I don't know, I have no idea.
I feel like Tina's in a good position though. Like nobody's really coming after her, so just let them make these ridiculous decisions and let it blow back on them and you walk away scot-free.
How hard is Victoria playing in the live feeds? Because in the show, we really just see her swimming around the ball pit.
I guess Victoria could be my next rant because I have a lot to say about Victoria as well. She won the HOH, so she's the HOH.
Oh, okay.
She's
spoiler alert.
A comp beast. Yeah, spoiler alert. Now I'm going to say we're recording this on a Friday and this won't air till Sunday, so we're not going to know who wins the veto. But Victoria, oh my God, I can't stand these casts sometimes. But anyway, oh my God, Victoria and Beth are the same person. Basically, they're the type of women in these games that they have to make themselves good with the guys. We gotta be good with the guys. Oh my God. So Victoria wants to make sure she's good with the bros, basically. She wants to be good with both Jetson and Tashawn and good with
What's
Kyle.
wrong with being good with the bros?
Because it's
As
weak.
I sit the only female in an all male cast.
Because the bros play the women every year on this fucking game. That's why it's so bad to be always.
You got to be smart.
But they're not smart. Victoria is not smart. I think Victoria is not good at this game. I think Victoria is the second dumbest person in the house next to Kiefer, personally.
I mean, it only really matters in the competitions. I mean, you put Victoria next to Jeff Schroeder in a find the shoe in a ball pit competition, and she's sending Jeff Schroeder home. So,
well, to be fair, she just won in a crapshoot, so I don't want to call her combies just yet.
I mean, she's won 2 comps now, hasn't she?
Yeah, but this one was a crapshoot. If someone who hates crapshoots did, I think you should agree.
But I feel like winning this one probably means you didn't get picked to play in many of the rounds, which means people liked you to some degree.
She's at the bottom. This is another reason why. Let me try and walk you through. I can't even understand what's going on in the house sometimes because these people don't know what they're doing, even though I enjoy watching it. I just want to say they're a very entertaining cast, and I would rather watch them play hard and suck than watch everybody not play hard and still suck. So I would definitely take this cast because they're entertaining. Okay, so Victoria doesn't like the women, basically, is what's happening. Victoria doesn't like Latoya, doesn't really like Tara, doesn't talk to Tina, doesn't really like Beth, because I mean, who would like Beth, honestly? But so the only girl she talks to is Austin, your guys' favorite. She talks to Austin. But other than that, she only really talks game with the guys. So she's targeting Latoya because they're close to Tashawn and Jetson. She also wants to put a Kiefer next to Latoya. That's her plan. I think she would prefer Latoya to go. I think a lot of people in that alliance would prefer Latoya to go. But she's telling everybody this, not gaining any leverage as she should as HOH. So while she's going all this she's planning out this by herself, the other people that are on the Sunsetters, Kyle, Rohan, Austin, and Brayden, make an alliance together without her. So basically, she's HOH doing the dirty work, but she has no alliance.
Wait. Kyle and them are on the Sunsetters.
No, I'm saying she's not in the Sunsetters, but she's also not in this newly formed alliance, even though they brought her in today as the oddballs, but she's clearly at the bottom of that.
Okay. So who's in the oddballs?
Kyle, Rohan, Austin, and Brayden. And Victoria, I guess, but it's really those four, and then they brought her in today.
So is I have the house divided in two. So those you just listed. I also have Tara listed on that side,
No,
or is she included with the
Tara's included
Sunsetters?
nowhere, honestly.
So she's just
Got
on her own.
nothing.
Because I have her working with Rohan and Kyle.
Kind of, yeah. I think she's definitely mad at Jetson because Jetson tried to throw her under the bus. So I would
And
say she
then-
kind of leaning towards that, but she's also close to Tina.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tina and Latoya. She's kind of they talk game a little bit too.
Yeah.
I feel like I had higher hopes for Tara. I'm not as like hashtag team Tara as I was from her like first look.
Yeah. I don't want to single her out because clearly this entire house is spiraling 24/7. Literally, they've been spiraling for 3 days straight, everybody. But Tara definitely spirals over certain things, which I kind of feel
It
bad.
might
But
be kind of a good position though, listening to what you're saying, to not really be a big player in these larger alliances because they're going to start kind of crash and burning and going after each other. And I mean, and not that I really love a floater, but that might be the best game move in this situation.
You want to be that third or fourth person on the totem. You don't want to be at the top. You don't want to be at the bottom. You just want to kind of ride it, because either the top of that totem is going to get punished and put on the block, or they're going to take the easy bait at the bottom and throw them in.
Yeah, but I don't even know if you want to be a totem right now in like the Sunsetters. You know, you
Well,
maybe
like-
want to build your own connections with some of those people like outside of the Sunsetters and let the Sunsetters crash and burn.
That's what I feel Tina's doing. Like you have Latoya, Jed, Ty, Kiefer's at the bottom, and then Tina's like in the middle there, and she's kind of bridging out to.
she
Tara.
was. But let me break you down with the last things I seen on the feeds today, or tried to break you down with this. First of all, I just want to say why this is like Survivor Gabon. Somebody said this on, I want to say Twitter. I've seen it sometime, where they said Survivor Gabon is like the season where everybody in that cast would be a first boot on any other season. I feel like this is that cast because they're just a hot mess. But anyway, Fat Guy's favorite, Kyle, today. So this is the first time Kyle's really been in the know, and he thinks he's the king of the world. Him and Rohan think they are the kings of the world because they've had one day being on the right side. So they made that alliance with Austin and Brayden, but they're like, they have this thing going with Tina and Tara. But Tina knows that they're like, I don't know. I think they think Kyle and Rohan both give off this vibe that they're like, I don't know what exactly, but Tina definitely feels this vibe. Well, anyway, today Kyle and I think it was Rohan who walked in on Kiefer and Latoya laughing about something, and he took it the entire wrong way. So he brought her back to Kyle, and Kyle, the king of the world, starts scrambling, and he's like, they think Tina and Tara's against them, and they're like, what are these? They're making fun of their age. What are these old women doing? They don't really know how to play this game. So I feel like if they're going to confront Tara and Tina about how they're playing stupid by talking to the other side just because they're talking to the other side, that they're clearly not going to have Tara and Tina's vote. Like they think well, I don't know if they need it because Beth's a wild card, but they probably are going to need it if they really want Latoya out. I feel like I'm just ranting, but I feel like I need to. So
It's
yeah,
just a lot. It's so different. I've watched some seasons. Okay, this is my first season of BB Can, but in Big Brother in general, I've watched some seasons of Big Brother where I only watch the show and I don't really read spoilers and I just want to see what happens on the show. And then there's other seasons where I'm glued to the live feeds and I know everything that's going to happen before it happens on the show and I know all the inside stuff and it's such a different outlook, both ways you watch it. So it's just interesting.
and it doesn't help that they edited Monday's episode so terribly that they didn't give any idea what was going on, and then they had to play catch up during the other two episodes to try and at least give an idea what's going on.
I don't know about you, Meg, but my issue right now is I'm watching Online Isolation, The Challenge, taking notes on everything. So maybe when those two are done, I can focus a little bit more on watching the feeds. But
That'd
for
be
right
good
now,
because I can't. Coming April,
I watched The Challenge and all 3 episodes of BB Can today. I just finished the last episode at like 9:25 before we started talking, and I had to like go read a recap from The Challenge before we did that podcast because I was like, there's so many people. I also watch Isolation. That's why I can't follow Nick's Big Brother feeds about the live feeds because I would literally never stop just like watching us.
Yeah, I can't keep up with the live feeds anymore, to be honest. I'm gonna probably have to cut back to a few times a week because it's like I feel like I've been doing everything all day and all night that I don't even have time for anything else. But
one of my sites that I normally use for US Big Brother is Morty's BB, and they don't do live feed updates on BB Canada. So I've got to find another
Joker's updates.
Jokers. Okay.
well, I think I got all my ranting out. But any other thoughts on the episodes? I feel like. Sorry, go ahead.
No, this just something I think I talked about this last time. But this house is so freaking big. Like
it's a lot of negative space.
Yeah, and you just said somebody walked in on somebody, and it's like, how does that even happen? This place is so big. There's so many places to hide. I mean, shit, you can hide out in the open, and there's still like 100 yards to the next wall.
I did take notice of that in these episodes too, just like how much negative space there is. Like, why don't you just fill it with more things or get a smaller house? It's just, it just seems unnecessary to me. And then it was interesting when Austin and Kiefer sat down to have their like kind of one-on-one conversation after he was on the block. I feel like in BBUS, you would not see them, the HOH having that conversation in the middle of like the living area. You'd definitely be in the HOH room where you're private and nobody can hear what you're saying. But in a house of this size, they could have totally sat in those chairs underneath that tree and nobody hear what their conversation is about.
There's 2 spots in the house that I think need to be utilized more for conversations. First off, that badass hockey table room. I want that in my house, but playing the little hockey thing has to make some noise. That's the perfect place to have a conversation where somebody can't really hear you outside. And the other is that god awful ball pit. Like, go in there, go in the far corner, and then anybody that walks in has to make that super awkward trek across the ball pit just to be able to talk to you.
Yeah, but how shady does that look? Somebody walking in and you're in the back corner of the ball pit with
just
another person
playing in the ball pit.
Let's talk in the ball pit.
Yeah.
I thought that's where the secret power was because they got all those arrows pointing down. So I was keeping thinking that there's something like marked at the bottom or something down there.
It seems like there should be because I don't think they're actually sleeping in that room. So what's the have that room for if they're not sleeping in it?
Do you think that's what Kiefer and Victoria were doing in there with the thing? Some alarm started going off and Victoria just popped up from underneath the balls. I was dying. But like, I mean, what were the two? They're obviously not in there playing, right? So what are they doing?
Yeah.
Can you tell me where at in that house that picture I sent you was from? That secret room?
I have to pay more attention. I don't exactly know where it is.
There's a secret room in the house that I can't figure out from the picture that I saw where it's coming from. And I thought it was interesting during the TikToks when was Adam Pike mentioned that there could be a power hidden.
They're
And there's
clearly
definitely-
showing like there's a power. They've
Yeah.
been hinting at it all week.
It's in the ball pit room.
Something has to be in there.
Why go through the trouble of filling this room with plastic balls if you aren't going to hide something at the bottom?
Maybe
There's
it's a clue
probably
to
something
enemy
in the
of
balls.
Yeah,
There's probably
then
a ball
drawing
in there that
100
has
arrows.
something in it.
Yeah. I mean, all the arrows are
filling
pointing
that ball
down.
pit
It's like
all the
the most
time.
obvious ever.
There's little turds at the bottom, I'm telling you. Every ball
At
pit I've
Chuck E.
ever been in.
Cheese, maybe, but not.
My first
look-
job at Cart Ranch, I had to clean the ball pit, and I'm gonna
Ugh.
second what they
Ugh.
said. They are foul.
Oof.
There's some nasty stuff that goes on in the ball pits.
Well, any final thoughts on Survivor, Devon?
I think I actually was just thinking about it, and I think to piggyback that statement, in fact, this might be the first cast of any reality show ever that I've watched, which is a lot. That I can't think of one single person that I like more than when I first saw them. Every single person on this cast I like less than I thought I was going to like them, which in some cases wasn't even high.
Well, I won't go that far. I actually like the cast because they're such a fucking mess, but they're just not good at the game, that's for sure.
I do like Victoria a lot more than I did with her initial video, because on her initial video, I thought she was just going to be so incredibly obnoxious. But I find her
She's
entertaining. I just find her very entertaining. And I think I would be just like playing right along with her, just like having fun.
I mean, I thought the conversation her and Jed had, she was really level-headed and wasn't the obnoxious Victoria we normally see. But overall, that's too much. They need to start sprinkling Adderall in their water supply or something for every single person in that
I mean,
house.
keep it up. They'll just let them spiral for fucking 8 more weeks. Why not?
I am excited to see some individual gameplay though, and that the teams are now gone, because I'm glad that BB tried to do some sort of new twist and new play on the game, but I didn't really like the teams.
It was a fail.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they'll come up with another 2 or 3 more twists the next week or two.
Yeah, I just felt the teams like really hindered gameplay.
It did. It's kind of what helped made Austin's HOH kind of pointless because she only had so many options as it was.
I mean, do you think that she still wouldn't have just put up Josh and Kiefer even if the teams didn't?
Probably.
I mean, it's
That's
the
another thing.
first HOH. I mean, you're not trying to make a super huge move. You're just trying to get as much information, build an alliance, and get out of it without
It did
blowing
none
up.
of that.
Yeah, but if they weren't in teams, and if her real reason for putting up Kiefer was the way that he handled the challenge, he wouldn't have handled himself that way, likely because he wouldn't have been shooting for his team.
Fair.
I
But
just want to say everybody on social media thinks there's going to be this split house and they're all these 2 sides against each other. But like, do you guys really believe that Brayden and Austin are just going to be so tight with Kyle and Rohan? And if Beth or Jed or Tashawn or Latoya win the next HOAs, they're not just going to be if that person's ass? Because I feel like I feel like those 2 are the ultimate voters.
I'm just ready. I want to see both of them on the block together.
Austin and Brayden,
Oh yeah, it's
It has
going
to
to be a
happen.
shit show. It's going to be a shit show, and I'm ready for it. Give me.
I don't know.
Any predictions?
0 predictions.
I think Victoria's going to win HOH.
I like that prediction. I'll
Good
second
one.
that.
That's all I got.
I think it's the end for my boy Kiefer, man. I don't think it looks good for him.
I think if it's him next to Latoya, there's a good shot Latoya goes. Well, except Kiefer's doing this thing where he's like, he's okay if he goes. I don't know if he should be saying that.
I don't like that game move. And I don't like the game move of like, I'll just use me as your pawn the whole time I'm here. I don't like either one of those like pitches.
I think Kiefer goes over Latoya.
Based on what you see.
I think
Based
it's
on what
too
I
early.
see too, right? But what Nick is saying, that I don't know if that's likely.
I mean, Latoya is the main target for Victoria and Kyle and Rohan. I guess it's just a matter of, are Kyle and Rohan going to just piss off Tarantina and then they don't have the votes to get out Latoya?
Who's up against her? It's Kiefer? So it's two of the Sunsetters. Then yeah, they don't have the numbers.
Would Tina go against Latoya? I thought they were
I
like
doubt
number
it.
ones with each other.
Unless all looks lost, I think Latoya would tell her to vote for her like Julie Moo did. But
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. Sunsetters would have 4 votes if Nom stayed the same.
yeah, but if Kyle and Rohan piss off Tara, then
It's so weird that I'm not used to it being 14 people to start off a season. It feels like the votes are so low already. We're only a week into it. I'm used to like 16 and 18 people in the house.
I won't lie though, this the BB can scenes always make me want to do a Big Brother game, but then I'm like, how can I fucking do that? Because Big Brother would take so long to do.
The conversations would need to be a lot longer.
I don't think that would be possible.
I think it has to be. I mean, our Survivor conversations were so short.
Well, I'm just saying, if the conversations are long and they have to do veto and HOH, then it's gonna be a fucking 2-month game.
It's true.
I mean, we're all sitting here jealous of 40-minute conversation isolation players get to have.
I think I would rather have to
guys,
just
you
go
know?
shorter.
No, it sucks. It sucks whenever it's just like, okay, I don't have time to introduce myself. I'll just jump right into strategy. It's
So like, are we gonna work together or what? Because we
Yeah.
got 8 minutes. I'm excited to see a show that we podcast for that Nick actually enjoys.
I am enjoying this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm enjoying the
always are
feeds.
so negative
I'm
about
telling
everything
you.
we talk about.
I enjoy the feeds. I just hate the episodes.
Mm.
You guys
I give
can't hit shit here and tell me that they're editing this so well,
No,
or
it's
the
horrible.
challenge is just.
But we
so
don't know the difference
exciting.
because we're not watching the feeds, right? So I don't know that they're not editing it well because I'm not keeping up with the feeds.
I mean, to be fair, this All-Star season for BBUS, that was the first season that I stopped watching halfway through. So I can't dog on him too much.
I mean, not to be cocky, but I'd go so far as to say, not to be Tony Khan fan guy, but I'd go far as to say that Online Isolation 2 is the best edited reality show of this year so far compared to The Challenge and BB Can.
It's good.
So
I
at
enjoy
least
it.
you could tell what's happening and it's not boring, I don't think, anyway.
You haven't had a cat on your side.
Although, can I ask something of you, please? When you're doing the Online Isolation 2, can you keep the like zzz thing to like a minimum in the beginning because I can't watch it.
Yeah,
It
people
like gives me a seizure when they're like zzz, and it's the whole like what happened previously, and like I get that because it's like separating it from like what's really, then these like new conversations, but it was hurting my eyes so bad that I had to listen. I couldn't watch.
Sorry.
It was a lot. So I was going to
Yeah, that was
text
a
you,
long
but I
one.
figured I'd just bring it up tonight.
Yeah, I got one more plug too before we get off. For everyone watching us going, oh, these fuckers, what do they know about all this? They probably don't know nothing. My boy Nick got a show coming up. It's called The Battle. All of us are going to be on it, so you can judge us for yourselves and tell us what idiots we are and how terrible we play. It's all fair game. We're going to take it on the chin.
Yeah. Podcast us.
Touche.
Yeah, who's going to be on your podcast for that show?
I have no idea yet.
Nobody, because we're the only ones that actually watch.
Dee Dee's the only one on it and I don't think Alex has the time. So I don't know. I might ask Carrie with a K, maybe. So I'll call back bitchy again.
Don't ask her.
You can get Alex. Alex might
He doesn't
do
have
it.
time.
Oh.
Maybe I'll ask Elizabeth. Snake a bit.
Snake a bit. Yes, I don't think she likes that. She ignores anytime I call her that.
Anyway, thanks everybody for our BB Can podcast and listening to me rant for 55 minutes. I feel like that's all this podcast was, but
And if you want to hear him rant more, watch his live feed updates in the mornings.
although I don't know if I could do it every night going forward, but I'll try.
Yeah, they've been awesome. They were. I mean, I haven't been able to watch the feeds. I've just been keeping up with Nick's live feed updates and learning quite a bit. I mean,
Watch me just shit on everybody.
If you like seeing him, like and subscribe so that he can get up to 1,000 subscribers and start making some money so he has incentive to keep making them.
Touche.
Online Isolation 3 casting right now. Get up on it.
Touche.